All right. Everybody settled? Ready to go? Welcome to Williams County in the city of Williston. Beautiful day, minus the wind. Might have taken you a little longer to get up here fighting the wind, Governor. I'm Steve Kemp. I'm honored to be a part of this cast of characters on the end, otherwise known as the County Commission, Williams County Commission. It's fantastic to be here on this momentous day. I would like to start by thanking Montreal Williams Electric Cooperative, and in particular Dale Haugen and his staff for hosting this event in this amazing LEED certified building. What a beautiful facility. So thank you, Montreal Williams and Dale. I'd also like to thank Dale for getting us here right now in this time. Very, very impressive. I'm told laughter is good medicine. So a grasshopper walks into a bar. Bartender says, "We have a drink named after you." Puzzled, the grasshopper says, "Really? You have a drink named Bob?" So, anyway. Sorry. It's my wife's favorite joke. So thank Carla. I don't have any jokes. So many people talk about Governor Doug Burgum's tremendous entrepreneurial talent. And when they do, they mention companies like Great Plains Software, Microsoft, SuccessFactors. But I would suggest the business I find most interesting in character building would be his chimney sweep business. That to me identifies our governor as a real, hardworking, grounded individual who understands that when it comes time to bet the farm on a new venture, he knows what it will take to make it successful. As a visionary for our state and true pioneer, with his Commerce Department currently working on $30 billion of new projects for the state of North Dakota. I just let that sink in for a second. $30 billion of new investment. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce our governor of the great state of North Dakota, Governor Doug Burgum.
Thank you, Chairman Kemp. What a great day for North Dakota, and what a great day to be with all of you, and what a great day to be here in Williston. And we've got so much to celebrate, so much gratitude to share today. I don't know. I'm just excited, and I also have to say, Chairman, this is the first time since I've been governor anybody's brought up the chimney sweeping business. So I'm. When I was a senior in college, I actually did have a chimney sweeping business, and it was one of my many entrepreneurial ventures that I'm sure none of you have heard of it. It wasn't one of the more successful ones, but when you're an entrepreneur, you're always trying to move ahead and stay profitable. And I did find out that was a business where I could move up fast and stay in the black, but that didn't mean that I made any money. But do you like that joke, Bob? That was good. Anyway, okay. But anyway, I want to start out. We're here for a lot of reasons today. Part of it is we've got a great tax and regulatory environment in our state. It's been going on. Brent Sanford and I have been really focused on innovation, not regulation as a drive. But it started before that. I mean, we've just got a great history of our legislature and business leaders as governors really driving that forward. And we've got a number of our legislators that are here today. I haven't had a chance to check them all. I know that we, from District 1, David Richter, Pat Haddestill are here. Brad Becketall, of course, who longtime city commissioner. He's down in Bismarck working on his National Guard duty. He's not here. But from District 2, Senator David Russ, Representative Bert Anderson, Representative Don Longmire. I see some of them out here. District 39, I saw Dale Patton in the back, Senator Dale Patton, and I don't know if Keith Kempenick and Denton Zupke representatives are here, but they do a great job for not just for this part of the state, but for the whole state, and they've certainly been behind and support of a lot of things we're doing to drive this economic development forward. So let's thank those legislators that are all here today. And of course, in addition to the great work that Chairman Kemp and the Williams County Commission is doing, got a fantastic mayor here in Williston, and we've had a chance to work really closely together, maybe more closely than we wanted to. I don't know how many calls we were on during the last 2 years with mayors from across the state, trying to navigate our way through all the challenges we're facing. But I want to say thanks to Mayor Klug and all the members of the Williston City Commission as well for the great work. So let's give it up for Williams County and Williston. And when I, when Chairman Kemp was talking about the almost $30 billion in identified potential capital coming to North Dakota, this is significant. When I think about my career as an entrepreneur in North Dakota, the two challenges I had on every business we're ever trying to build here is how do you get capital to come to North Dakota, and then how do you, get the talent to either come back home again or get the talent to stay here to operate all the things we're doing. But we've got so many things going for us right now. Not only do we have the jackpot of geology that created the Bakken, we've got the incredible jackpot of geology in our ability to store carbon in our state. And the world is starting to understand this. I mean, since we made the announcement last May about our goal of trying to be a carbon neutral state by 2030 with no mandates and no regulation, just 100% innovation. How do you do that? Well, you do that because we've got the ability to store 252 billion tons of CO2. That's equivalent of 50 years of all the CO2 produced in the U.S. could be stored underground. But again, thanks to the great work that's been gone on with state leaders like their Department of Minerals, Lynn Helms, folks working on the regulatory environment, started in 2009, working on getting primacy over the federal government to be able to have North Dakota be the one that issues a permit for a carbon storage well. I mean, that is you don't aggregate $4 billion of capital to build a CO2 line that's under construction to come from Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota, Eastern North Dakota to bring CO2 to be stored underground in North Dakota. You don't aggregate $4 billion of capital for a pipeline if you think that at the day you get the pipeline done, your permit may depend on who's in the White House and which way the political winds are blowing. That kind of uncertainty the capital would never come together. So these projects are coming because when I say regulatory certainty, that's just not a buzzword. It's like we have created that in North Dakota where investors and entrepreneurs and risk takers like these guys at the table we're going to talk about can decide to come here and know that if they follow the rules, we'll be able to issue a permit. And then when you say, well, what about NIMBYism, which happens all over our country, not in our backyard? In North Dakota, we now, with the law passed by these legislators last spring, it clarifies in CO2 that pore space belongs to the landowner. So on last Friday, when we permitted Project Tundra, which another one of our great co-ops along with Basin, but Minn Kota had been working on this project for over a decade, largest carbon storage project in the world. It's going to have a 40 square mile area where they aggregated, 79% of the landowners agreed to it. That was well above the threshold of 60 for the amalgamation. 100% of those landowners are going to get paid for every ton of CO2 that gets stored in that 40 square miles. That's larger than a township. I mean, it's what we've got going on, and all the projects that are coming in that 30 billion that Chairman Kemp mentioned, they're all coming because they're like, wow, we've got energy, we've got support, we've got a great tax environment, and we can operate in a world where we've got ESG investing, where people are going to be watching what are we doing with our CO2, and so that's all fantastic. And of course, when that CO2 is here, I think someday we'll be using that for enhanced oil recovery. And it's great that people are going to pay us to take their CO2 so we can use it to keep driving more carbon, taking more carbon out of the whole cycle. So it is going to be the whole thing is a virtuous cycle right now, and that's why you're seeing these numbers. It's not luck. It's not just a boom and a bust thing. It's because there's been a lot of work that's gone on that continues to go on to set this thing up. So I want to, again, we wouldn't be here today for all of that, but we also wouldn't be here without Montreal Williams. And you're going to hear later on from General Manager Dale Haugen and the board chair. I know Bob Grant is here today, but Dale down there on the end. I mean, not only just hosting today, but I mean, how fortunate we are to have someone like Dale who's an entrepreneur. He's not just a general manager of a rural electric co-op. He's an entrepreneur. He's going to Montana. He's visiting sites. He's understanding the business model. He's trying to solve problems, you know, for the customers that are here. And he wants to grow the electric business. He wants to grow generation in North Dakota. And of course, Montreal Williams is part of the Great Basin Electric Group. And I also know that Basin CEO Todd Tellis is here today. But let's give it up. Let's give it up for Dale and Basin and Montreal Williams. But again, when we've got all this stuff that we put together with, you know, great co-ops, great legislative framework, great tax, great communities, welcoming and all that, it doesn't happen unless you have entrepreneurs. You have to have someone who's willing to step up and take the risk and try to make that happen. And we've got some of those folks that are here today, and you're going to get a chance to hear from them. You're going to hear from Rick Tavish, and you're going to hear from Kevin Washington. But, you know, we are here today to announce that FX Solutions and Atlas Power, they've started construction at the Atlas Power data center west of Williston, and when it's completed, it's going to be one of the largest single location data centers in the world. And this is a major investment that's occurring. It's going to further cement North Dakota's growing reputation as a global hub for data centers. And those data centers can be used for a lot of things, cryptocurrency mining, of course. But the power that's in these servers is going to create all kinds of opportunities down the road when we've got this kind of computing power here, whether it's for artificial intelligence or AI or lots of other things that are coming along. It's going to make those things, there's going to be a lot of uses. But why are they here? Because we got an incredibly affordable power supply. We got a climate that helps, because heat is an issue when you got this many servers, and so cooling costs matters, and so all that's great. And of course, all of these folks themselves, for their investors, shareholders, they're looking for an all-above energy approach. They're looking for clean energy, decarbonized energy, and so North Dakota is in a great position to support data centers. This is going to be one of the biggest. It's not the first, and it won't be the last that you'll hear announcements in North Dakota with more of these projects that are coming. But to get a sense of the scale of this, because when we think about electricity, and of course, one of the biggest power consumers in the country right now is basically anybody involved in the internet, anybody involved in cloud storage. So if you take the big five, you know, the Googles, the Facebooks, the Microsoft, the Apple, you know, then you throw in Netflix and a few others. I mean, these are all the places where power consumption is really growing. But this one right here, first phase alone, 78,000 servers, 240 megawatts of electricity, 16 billions, each of them the length of a football field on a 77-acre site. Phase 2 and 3, 500 more megawatts, and then finally 700 megawatts. You know, and you add all that up, 700 megawatts, that's what the Milton R. Young station near Center produces. That's what it's rated at, is 705 megawatts. So this 177-acre site could be using all the power out of what's the Milton Young site. So, you know, it's it is another key function that things like this Atlas Power Center here in Williston, or the data centers that are coming up in Grand Forks and Jamestown, these are you know, the incredible computing power is also going to allow North Dakota to become a leader in blockchain. Maybe some of these guys will talk about that, but blockchain is, you know, going to have a big future in our state. It's going to help everything from you know, all the complex problems that we're facing, whether it's in data, medical record data accuracy, agricultural firms, smart contracts. It can be a means to buy, sell, trade, all kinds of things. And I got to say, with, you know, Kevin, who you're going to hear today, is a true visionary in this area. I mean, we got with these tens of thousands. I think I said, you know, 78,000 servers. You know, these are GPUs, graphical processing units. And this is going to, again, allow all kinds of things for Atlas to be, you know, going forward. But I'd say that the vision and the risk-taking and the courage that's going on hear among these entrepreneurs is really inspiring to me. And when we talk about all the above energy, I mean, last week, maybe you saw this, I talked about the Project Tundra, and last week the NDIC approving what was the largest CCUS project perhaps in the world, but in the Apex also announced there's going to be a 400 megawatt Discovery Wind project in McLean County. This is the county that was banning wind projects a year ago. It was contingent on the sale of Coal Creek. Again, I want to thank the legislators and all involved, because that was a team effort between the state, some great North Dakota entrepreneurs, keep Coal Creek open, keep that direct current line going to Minnesota, and making sure that we maintained our very important, reliable base load from coal, with the opportunity now to decarbonize that base load. And so that's going to be over $1 billion investment at the Milton R. Young Station in Oliver County, and again, transformational. You know, all this feeds into what we talk about. There's one headline over all of this: innovation over regulation is what we do in North Dakota, and like the one that we're announcing here today highlights the critical role that North Dakota plays in the future of this whole world of high performance computing. And it's fitting that we're here in Williston, of course, to do this, because Williston was one of the first city in North Dakota, but one of the first in the country, and just a handful that's accepting cryptocurrency for bill payments, so BitPay. So, and again, our own North Dakota visionary Chief Information Officer, Sean Riley, sees incredible potential for blockchain in all kinds of applications within how we manage the expansive amounts of data that we have in state government. And again, when we talk about, Brent Sanford and I talk about projects like this, we're also talking about diversifying the economy. Williston is the epicenter of understanding what it's like to be whipsawed by prices that we don't control. The boom and bust cycle that's been going on here, 50s, 80s, in the 2000 teens, everybody feels like they've seen that story. When we get projects like this going here, this project's not dependent on the price of oil. And these jobs won't be dependent on it. It is fantastic. So when we talk about diversifying the economy, we want to diversify into things that allow us to have more control, add more value to what we're producing here. In this case, we're adding value to the electricity that we're producing here. And so again, that's what's going to help us level out and get out of these the boom and bust cycle that we're in. And then, but of course, we need jobs to fill those. And again, we had a fantastic 5-day special session in this last fall, and most work any legislator in the history of states got done in 5 days. And so kudos to all of them. But part of that was securing $88 million in matching funds for private sector investments for career centers. Some of that's been distributed so far in the first grant round to Minot, Watford City, and Dickinson. There's $68 million left that'll be going to projects that I'm sure that qualify, like Williston's. In addition to that, there was $38 million that went to Bismarck State College for a polytechnic center focused on meeting employer demand, and then $20 million for local workforce development incentive grants. And I say all of that because we need to keep building the skills to staff exciting projects like you're going to hear from Atlas today. While I'm in town here today, I'm looking forward to meeting the new president from Williston, President Herning, to talk about everything that they're doing on workforce and do that. But again, bringing it back to why we're here today: entrepreneurs, risk takers, getting it done with vision, with courage. And I want to thank Atlas Power and FX for this, picking the Williston area. We had a chance to meet in Montana less than a year ago. The minute I heard about these ideas, when I heard about what they were doing in Butte, Montana, another town that had been, chronically depressed for years, but what they've done and come in there and created jobs and the work they've done, and then Dale getting out there with his team, Dale briefing our office and our commerce team about coming back with, I say, a picture of 1,000 words, but I feel like I've already toured your guys' facility in Butte with the PowerPoint that Dale had. But to see the quality that they're doing here is really amazing. amazing. So it is in what they're doing. We're going to the batting order. We're going to hear first from Rick Tabish with FX Solutions. Some of you may know Rick. Rick built an incredible reputation working here in the Bakken in the last decade with all of the top companies, solving some of the most complex problems. They got a history, FX Solutions, in design build, but when the Bakken was booming, they jumped in and tackled some incredibly complex thing. They did it, on time, under budget, with quality. That's what they're bringing here as part of getting this thing delivering. The work they've done in Montana is amazing. When Rick's done, I'm going to come back and get a chance to tell you more about the amazing Kevin Washington and what they're going to